everyone. We are back again with another Risk Insurance Dialogues interview. Today, I wanted to do something a little different. So, we have Alannah Long. She started out as a trainee, and I'll let her talk about that a little bit more. But I wanted to get her point of view because she is newer in her insurance career. And so, I think it's very important that we all hear from the people that are new and coming into the industry and their outlook on things and how important it is to foster and listen to the newer professionals in addition to the experienced professionals. So Alannah, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So to get things started, can you just introduce yourself and what your current role is?
Yes, so I'm Alannah Long, a wife and mom to three rambunctious children. And by day, I am a workers' compensation claims adjuster for Gallagher Bassett. And so I've been in this role for 2 years, but the first 2 years was a trainee program. And I'm told it's more of a new kind of thing for Gallagher Bassett. I think we were training class number 4, maybe 3, and it was 2 years long. So I actually just graduated that in March of this year.
That's great. Congratulations on your graduation. That's very exciting. I remember mine.
Thanks.
So, can you talk about how you ended up in not only claims, but the insurance industry as a whole?
Yes. So the fun fact is that my mom has been in claims for my entire life. So I knew a little bit about claims. She had handled California claims, which is a giant in its own. And so I knew some things just by purely osmosis. And I remember being fresh out of high school and I'm like, I want to do what you do. I want to be in claims. And I applied for Cedric, but I didn't have my degree at that time and they didn't accept me. It's okay. It was not the right time. And I just went my own way after that, continued school and all of that kind of stuff. And then at one point in my last job, I loved it. I truly did love being in property management, commercial real estate business as an office manager. And it was wonderful. But there was a point where I couldn't see a clear path of being able to develop more skills and get a promotion, a different thing. It was just really tight. And I just needed more. I needed something different and that I knew that I could keep growing in. And that's exactly what claims has been. So that's kind of how I got into it. I applied for it. My mom had referred me and I somehow got in. It was pretty awesome. 4 interviews. That was nerve wracking, but really cool. I didn't even know all of the terms that they were asking me about, but I certainly learned them. And that's the rest is history, really.
It's so exciting to hear that you had this background of insurance, but you also took a leap from property management and wanted to give it a try. And I'm glad that it seems like it's working out well. So that kind of leads me to my next question as how has it been? Now you're about 2 years in. How has your experience been so far?
It has been wild. I'm trying to think. It's been fantastic actually, because basically the first year is a lot of learning, getting your license, and I would liken it to being in college all day long and just lots of learning. It's just coming at you like a water hose almost, but it's fulfilling. And then you start getting into the claims at the end of the first year. That's how our training program went. And you're like, oh, I can do this. And you're all excited about it. And it literally has not gone away, the excitement. I used to love working in the fraud industry before this. And it was because in the fraud industry, you are helping people who have had fraud experience, fraud happening to them. And then you are also catching fraudsters and helping people not be taken by fraud, that kind of thing. And it's kind of the same thing here. You've got injured workers who have experienced something traumatic or even less traumatic, maybe a sprain or something like that. But even still, they got hurt on the job and you're there to guide them and assist them and make their life easier while they're going through that time. And then there's the flip side where if they're trying to take advantage of an insured and you have actual factual evidence that that is so and it's technically not a good claim, then it's satisfying to be able to help the insured. So you're always helping someone and then you're always learning new things. I had no idea how much I would continue to learn. When they said the training program is 2 years, I was like, 2 years? We've learned jobs quicker than that, right? And then I realized, oh, you're not done learning. I'm still not done learning. It's a continuous learning thing. And that's why I love it, because it's like a challenge. There's multiple challenges that happen in they're hard, but you get through them and you work it, and then it's on to the next one. So I love it.
That's great. I love hearing that. And it is so true. There's so much to learn in
Yeah.
insurance. And as soon as you think you learned it all, then something else comes your way and you got to start learning all over again. So there's definitely lots to do and you can really keep busy, I'm sure, as you've learned. And so now, is there anything, talking about all the knowledge that you've learned and the experiences you've had, is there anything that maybe you would change about the insurance industry that you see as maybe an area that the industry as a whole could improve upon?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think as a collective, it's something we all have to work on changing. What I would like to change is the perception of the industry. And it's something we all think about, but I don't like hearing an injured worker tell me that they've had a previous bad experience. Or they'll say, I don't know if I should talk to you when I first get a claim. I don't know if I should talk to you because the insurance companies, or you guys are just about money, or all that kind of stuff. And they're really debating, I don't know if I should litigate or that kind of stuff, because they don't have that trust. And so that bothers me. I want them to be able to understand that we're people centric and that we care about the injured worker and are here to support them and guide them through. Yes, we're not a charity at the end of the day, although we do like to work for those charities. But so there's that fine line, of course, but it's like I need them to understand that we do care and we want them to be whole. That's the whole point of the work comp insurance, is to make them back to where they were. So that whole perception thing is something that I would like to change, or be a part of the change collectively.
That's a really good point. It's especially with media and everything, there's this, like you said, this persona of insurance, bad money, and those are the things that come to mind when people think of insurance companies. But
Right.
our job is to help people, and that's what we want to do every day. So I think if we could find a way to really change that narrative, that would be a huge benefit to helping us do our jobs as well, helping gain that trust.
Definitely. You can succeed in having people feel that about you. And then there's ones where it's like they don't give you the time of day because they probably had some horrible experience before and it's over. So you can't change it with some of them. But I definitely work so hard to do that with the ones that do listen and that kind of thing.
Absolutely. And so we've talked about the good, we've talked about the bad. Now, overall, I have to ask, would you recommend this job or this industry to a friend or a family member?
That's a little bit of a loaded question, because immediately I'm like, absolutely, because there's so much opportunity. But then there's the caveat. If you have to be resilient, you have to be able to adapt, because things are ever changing. I just got a new jurisdiction last year, and then another one. And so if people aren't good with change or pivoting, then maybe I wouldn't recommend it to them. Most likely I wouldn't. So it's not for claims, isn't for everyone, but I think there's a place for everyone in insurance. It's just finding out what your personality is like and things like that. You definitely have to be able to pivot and be resilient. But yes, it's a great job and it's something that you can provide for your family and you can grow in. So for the most part, I would say yes.
Good. That is a good point because it's one of those, it's not a one size fits all, but claims specifically, but the industry as a whole is so large that it's kind of that thing of, well, claims may not be for everyone, but maybe there's another area that you could fall into. But I agree that you have to be very resilient, able to adapt, and ready to work, honestly. It's you
Yes.
have to be willing to put in that work is so important.
Yes. You cannot procrastinate here.
No, your desk will not allow it.
No.
And so, just to kind of wrap up here, what is maybe something you wish you knew that you would tell someone, maybe a new trainee coming in or someone just entering this industry from a different field that you would like for them to know?
I wish that I knew how much opportunity there was, because I think to myself, this last 2 years, I've been excited seeing people's titles and them telling me what they do and working with so many types of people throughout our industry. And it's like, wow, I could be a risk manager, or I could be a CAM, or I could be this. The list goes on, and you've interviewed so many of those different types of people. And so it's like, if I would have known that, maybe I would have tried to get in a little sooner, or, but telling somebody else about that, look, if you want to try claims, this would be great for you. It's not just claims, it's learning this, but then seeing so many different opportunities and pathways that you can get, or that you can go through in your life. And that's why I like this podcast, and then what Rise is doing and all that kind of stuff, because people, we just don't know. You just don't know until you're in it. And so I guess that's what I wish I would have known.
Great. Well, I'm glad that hopefully this podcast is helping to raise awareness to the endless amounts of possibilities. So that's always good to hear.
Yes.
But thank you so much. This has been such a wonderful conversation. I really appreciate your time and for coming on.
Thank you so much.